Hey guys, welcome to February's Army of the Month project. Second month, second army. I am stoked because January was a great success. I mean, of course, threw myself a little softball here, threw myself an easy one, knocked it out the park. That was the plan. We did it. Now we're kicking up a notch and we're doing Imperial Knights. So February's army is going to be the Imperial Knights. I'm really stoked. I played them a little bit at the end of 9th, a little bit at the beginning of 10th, but then I didn't kind of put them in a box and I went some other ways. But I think I want to play them now, you know? I don't think they're that great. You know, the data slate was not like super duper good to the Knights. It was not like a huge buff or anything, but they got some good things, and the fact that they knocked the top down a little bit makes them a little bit more viable. And I think they're kind of decent into Necrons, which is a kind of good thing because I think they're going to be the big boogeyman for a little while. So here's the list that I'm intending on playing, and I'll go into that first, and then I'll talk about the painting aspect, so all you thirsty gamers can get on with your lives after we're done with this. I know you guys don't care about painting, but I do. So the gaming aspect, so the list that I'm currently, after the data slate, the list that I'm currently thinking is one big guy here, which is going to be the Warden, and then 3 Helverins with the autocannons, and then 6 of the smaller guys, the Warglaves, and then for allies we go with 1 Eversor, 1 Khalidus Assassin, and just 4 of these little inquisitorial henchmen guys. I got 2 here because pre-data slate that was not this guy, not the Eversor, but 8 henchmen that I wanted to roll with. But since we saved a couple points, I changed it up. I think they're very similar in what they do. They're there for points mostly. Of course, this guy's screens not as good, but that's kind of okay. And we're also playing 1 enhancement, and it's the double bondsman on this guy. Now, so I'll explain the logic behind this, and then I'm sure somebody can tell me if I'm wrong and why. But the reasoning is the armigers are kind of the good parts, and then having a bondsman on them makes them better. So instead of playing 2 big guys and playing only maybe 6 instead of 9 of the smaller guys, we play 1, but we pay a little bit extra to make him give his bondsman ability to 2 of our small knights per turn. So this could allow us to do is just give -1. They take -1 damage, so you do that on 2 of the small guys, and then you run them forward, and that's 16 OC on an objective that takes -1 damage, so it almost doubles up their wound. Especially coupled up with the feel no pain. So yeah, it's not exactly doubles up their wound, but it's a significant amount. So giving that twice instead of playing 2 big robots but having much less of these smaller units sounds like the logical step, because in Imperial Knights you need at least 1 big guy, otherwise you don't have a warlord in your army. So I think I like the Warden for what he gives. I think -1 damage is pretty sexy. It's a tough army that want to stat check people, so upping that like stat check vibe is, I think, where it's at. And he's pretty decent. He kills really good infantry with the Gatling gun, and he's got a big, it's not on there right now, but he's got a big chainsword, so that's really good. So he can charge in tank shock, and then he's got the sweep and the bonk. I don't know what's the other one. But so this guy here, he can tackle pretty much everything, and he's great against infantry because he get dev wound on the big Gatling gun. So even elite infantry, he kind of gets a good wallop when he plays. And then these other guys here are more for action, like the Kaldus. I think is pretty unfuckwithable. You just pull it up from your end at the end of your opponent's turn. And then you get to deep strike it basically anywhere, so depending on your cards. Because this is so stupid, the main reason I want to play this army is because it's great with cards, playing tactical. And I've been playing fixed objective for so long that I want an army that plays tactical if possible. So not that fixed is not good on them, but having the kind of option to play tactical is really fun. And then these 4 guys are really just to stop maybe infiltrating and scout and then charging into all my fun stuff turn 1. So they make a little line, they sing Kumbaya, my lord, and they die horribly. Or, you know, if my opponent's not like a super offensive assault army, they just like hang back and then they do some sort of actions. And the Eversor I really like. He's got movement 9, he's got an assault weapon, and he scouts 9, so he starts really far. He's obsec, not obsec, sorry, he's lone up. So he gets, he's usually pretty safe on turn 1. And then until your knight kind of can walk onto like a side objective, this guy can like hold it for 1 turn, and then he just like runs back, and again he does points for whatever cards we draw. So I kind of like him. He's not like maybe the most beloved pick, but the other option would be a 3rd unit of these guys, and then we remove the bondsman ability. Well, not the bondsman, but the double bondsman. So there's a couple of options, but I think this is a pretty solid baseline for to play with. And it's also a very travel-friendly army, because this is the army I intend to take to Adepticon, because that's at the end of March. Having this one painted in February means played in March, right? Now, on to the painting aspect. Now, what you're thinking, oh my god, they're almost all painted. Not quite. So the previous army, I'll admit, was like very started and almost complete. There was not a lot. But these guys, I'll show you close up here. As you can see, they're not really painted. They look good from a distance, but they're really... The only reason they're like this is because I don't like playing with unpainted models, so I did all that was necessary before gluing them to the base, which is all the airbrush stuff, and then I stick them on bases just so I could play with them and not feel like super shameful. But there's no detail on them that's done. Even the parts that are airbrushed now are not really completed, so none of these mini is actually finished except Mr. Eversor here. This guy's done. And it was a late edition too. So really, there's a lot to do on this army. Again, I changed. This guy here was some other sort of knight, but the chainsword is where it's at. I played this guy with all the guns and no close combat, and I like close combat. So we're gonna play the sword here. So there's a lot to finish on these, and then I have these 2 new guys here. Oops. Let's not break stuff before we begin. So I have these 2 new guys here with the melter guns to do. What I think I'll do, my plan is going to be to bring these up to this standard, and then put these on probably bases. So that way I can again play with them if I want to, and then up the standard, like finish all the little cables, because I think that's the next logical step in this. So all the cables everywhere, and then probably add like soot to the weapons, and then probably add some sort of OSL like eyes and lenses and little dials and whatnot. These ones I have no plan how to do the little inquisitorial thing. I like the idea. They're probably going to be black to fit with the assassins a little bit, and red to fit with the knights, and it also fits with the inquisitorial like theme altogether. So that's not really... I think these guys are going to be maybe a little bit easy, and then we'll do this guy on stream eventually, because it's a fun little piece you can do in one stream. And I am scared just watching it. It looks like a frail. I feel like we're going to break it before we even get to play it. But, you know, that's okay. All these miniatures have been dropped at least once. Otherwise, the paint job's not complete on them. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's reasonable, and I don't really have a super fixed plan for what to do with March. So I'm hoping that I can knock this one out of the park somewhat quickly, or at least get it like to a functioning state really quickly, get these up to par, get these painted, because I think this is going to be like 1 stream, 2 stream, thank you, goodbye. Even maybe not even a stream, because it's not that most fun project, but whatever. So I think I can get all of this to a playable state and then work my way up, you know, gradually adding steps. So once we do the cablings, they're kind of finished. Like, let's say, like, God forbid we're out of time, they're kind of finished. All the details are there, and then it's just extra cool work. Oh yeah, all my weapons here, they're not even magnetized. I just put a little pin in them, and then they look a little bit weird. That's okay. I don't mind that much. Same for these ones here, the Gatling guns or whatever. They're stubbers. Same thing. Missile launcher. Same thing. I just needed to stay while I moved it. Like, I used to play with only the plastic thing, and then every time I moved it, the gun would fall, and it would it would make my opponent laugh a lot. And I would get like angry at the silly little things. Yeah, I'm very stoked and very eager to play it and to finish painting it. I think it looks really good, and I think it will look very good at least when it's finished. And I think it's going to be very fun to play. I think I'm gonna have a blast at Adepticon, pushing my little robots and making little gun sounds. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. So I'll catch you towards the end of the month here, fellas.